Hi, Karen Curry here, author of the #1 best-selling book, Understanding Human Design, here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. It's been a while since we've done this on video, so buckle your seatbelts, let's get going. We've got a lot of big changes coming down in the celestial weather this week. We start the week on Monday, finishing up some of the tension and the energy that we had last week. That tension of last week was designed to push you and provoke you and get you back into the flow of your desires so that you can align more deeply with your abundance. Anything last week that maybe came up for you that made you uncomfortable was there to help you define more clearly for yourself what you want. And what do you want to create in your life this year? It's kind of interesting that we'll start the year with that energy of sort of tension. You know, the challenge with that tension energy is sometimes we forget that it's about making us grow, and we tend to descend into some of the energy of blame. So be mindful, you know, if you've kind of fallen in some of those holes last week, get out of those holes, because we have a whole different set of energies this week that are all about lifting us up, inspiring us, and getting us ready to move into the new creative cycle of the new year, which starts on January 22nd in the Human Design year. On Tuesday, when the sun moves into the gate 54, the earth moves into the gate 53. So we enter this 6-day cycle of being inspired, of having big ideas, of feeling like we need to get things started. A real sort of red flag on the play. This is a powerful energy, and there's a lot of energy this week that's about inspiration, fantasy, dreaming, and creating, but creating on the mental plane. But when that 53 shows up in the earth, so we might feel like we're under pressure to do or to get started, to take some kind of a bold step. I'm going to tell you this week, unless the universe shows you the signs that yes, indeed, it's time for you to take action and to get going, this week the energy is more about creating on the inner plane, on the mental plane, not so much about taking that action. So take the action if it's correct, if the signs are right, if it feels like the timing is correct for you, do it. But if you're not getting any clear signs, if it doesn't feel like the timing is right, then don't engage in any initiating actions. Wait. And remember, that's true for most of us. That's true for like 96% of us. We're designed to wait. Okay? Wait until the universe shows you that the timing is right. When it does, and it will be, then all the struggle goes away. All the challenges that perhaps can pop up when we're pushing too hard, too fast, without right timing, all those things melt away and things slip into place much more easily. Mercury goes into the 41 on Tuesday, as does Venus all week. The 41 is the gate of fantasy. This is actually the energy when it transits the sun that's about the initiating forces of the Human Design New Year. So that 41 is a very powerful initiating energy. It's the gate of fantasy. And when we think about fantasy, you know, if you look around your room, if you look around where you are, this camera in front of me, everything that is in form starts first with an idea, with a thought, with a fantasy of some kind. So this is a highly creative, highly inner creative, daydreaming kind of quality to it. So our conversations, our relationships, our values, we're really in the state of dreaming up something new, which is, of course, the energy that we want to start our new year with. So we're in this cycle of really dreaming the new. One piece to kind of be conscious of. The 30 is also transiting in Mars, which means we have a connection of that whole channel, the 4130, which is a deeply emotional energy. It's the channel of fantasy and desire. There can be a sticky point in relationships when this energy transits. And that sticky point is that sometimes when that energy transits, there is projected fantasies, projected mistaken communications that can happen under the influence of these energies. So be really mindful this week, certainly in your relationships, that you're communicating clearly, that if you're going to meet somebody for lunch, that you say specifically what restaurant are you going to, what time do you plan on being there. Make sure you're really articulating the details, because if you don't, there's a lot of potential here for people to project expectations onto others and for them to have fantasies about you or you about them, and for there to be a certain degree of miscommunication. On a second note, this is a really juicy energy for relationships, and certainly a juicy energy in the bedroom. So make sure you indulge in that this week if you're in the position to do that as well. So fantasy and desire, a really interesting theme this week. Certainly the most important piece for you to walk away with this week is the realization and the awareness that your mind is incredibly creative. Your mind is like a giant magic wand. And when you can really use that mind of yours this week to envision all the possibilities of what you'd like to create in the upcoming year. And in human design, we get a little bit of forgiveness because our year doesn't actually technically start till January 22nd this year. So really use this time to seed in consciousness what it is you'd like to be creating this year. The outer planets remains fairly stable, except we have a big shift in the nodes, but basically Jupiter is teaching us or giving us the answers for how to access our own personal power, which is what we see in Saturn. When we're looking at Uranus, Uranus is teaching us all about surrender and surrendering to something greater than us. So we're getting lessons on how to become truly powerful through surrender, which is, it sounds like an oxymoron, but there's really a tremendous amount of power to us when we surrender to forces that are greater than our own personal will. So this is the big theme that we're playing with for the next couple of months in the outer planets. Certainly our last week of the 55 transiting in Neptune, which means this is our last week for us to really master on a heart and soul level that we are abundant simply because we are. That there isn't anything you have to do to be abundant. There isn't anything you have to be except yourself to experience abundance. We are learning through the 38 in Pluto what's truly valuable and what's really worth fighting for. So as we shift and change all these values within us and we move more deeply into understanding of abundance, we're also learning which principles and values are really worth defending and fighting for. Our big shift this week comes in the nodes. The North and South node have been in the 57 and the 51 respectively, teaching us or initiating us with our own intuition, teaching us how to be intuitively aware of where we need to go to move more deeply into our relationship with spirit, initiating us through sometimes shocking and unexpected events into a deeper awareness of our own inner wisdom. As we have mastered that, we now move into a different level of learning. We now move to the 48 in the North node, which is the gate of depth, and the 21 in the South node, the gate of control. Certainly, the lower expressions of these energies, it could be very easy for us to want to try to control everything, particularly as we may be facing new levels of awarenesses of our potential inadequacy. These are the low energies. So if you feel inadequate, if you feel like you don't know enough, if you feel like you're struggling because you don't have the skill set yet, that may be an energetic illusion. And that for you to remember that the true depth of your mastery comes from not trying to control the parameters, but comes from surrendering and allowing the forces of the universe, miraculous, unexpected events, miraculous, unexpected answers to come to you and to follow those answers rather than trying to force your way into something that you think with your mind might be correct to create. You will be given the path. It will unfold in front of you. And if you keep following the steps that whatever that path is for you, your unique individual life path, as that path is revealed to you, unfolds in front of you. As you take each little step, step by step by step, when you surrender to that unfolding, you will be taken to wherever you need to be to become the master of your power and your destiny. That's the theme for this year. So the theme for this year is let go and let the universe work through you. If you're gripping too tight, if you're holding on, if you're trying to control and use your sheer will, you'll fight and you'll struggle. If you let go and you trust and you move deeper into harmony, which is what we're moving to next week, then you will allow the universal forces to work through you and through the world around you, and you will become, in that place, infinitely powerful. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you next week.